of paper. I did ask for cue cards and things to be put up in front of us to, you know, give it a bit of a professional touch, but I've been told that our budget wouldn't stretch that far for this wedding, and to be perfectly honest, nor will my eyesight after having a few drinks. I would also like to say that Tim, he is quite right. I am a little bit nervous about doing this speech, and you know, this is about the 5th time today that I've stood up from a slightly warm seat clutching several bits of paper. But, I would also like to say that having been together for about 5.5, 6 years now, and being married, you never kissed after the marriage. It's been 5.5 years, and I've never seen you two kiss in public. And yet you had the wedding, you had the opportunity. Come on.
You may now kiss the bride.
I was going to say, we'll get cameras ready.
You may now kiss the groom.
I'll pass. Now,
Sorry, the bride.
Now, I've known Tim for just coming up for 22 years now, and how much longer depends on what's going to happen next. So there are 1 or 2 things I've learned about him over the years, and something that Tom referred to earlier. Tim, he's always been a little bit of a dreamer, bless him. He's always had a few ideas. One of my very, very first memories of Tim when we first met were of he told me of his attempts to create and invent the world's first time machine. Attempts which, unless I'm suddenly speaking to you right now from the White House or Buckingham Palace, didn't really work, unfortunately. That's not to mention his dreams of being in Britain's bobsleigh team after watching a film called Running. His dreams of being an NBA superstar after watching Space Jam. You know, Louise, in fact, it might be a good idea if you try and find ways of keeping him awake to stop him from having these dreams. Now, Tom referred to investing in beds earlier, but I'll let you decide on your preferred method in keeping him awake.
Zero.
Come on, try to love the tone here. Good job.
You're managing.
Thank you. But it's not just the dreams of Tim. You know, there's more to him than that. It's the wild theories as well. I remember one from when we were very young, when he said that all of the pebbles and all of the stones that you see around the world that are laying around on footpaths and outside were all part of the asteroids that wiped out the dinosaurs. Bless him.
Are they not?
Yeah. He was saying, don't listen. He was saying, yeah, don't believe a word he says either. However, if there is one thing that I do know about Tim, is that if you get into a debate with him, be ready to concede, because Tim will always be right. No matter what the topic, no matter what the subject area, he will be right. Forget what he said just now about saying he's admitting when he's wrong and that he'll know he'll be right. It's never going to happen. Let's just nip that in the bud right now. One particular example that leaps to mind that I was reliably informed of quite recently, in which seems rather topical given the day, and concerned engagement rings. Now, this isn't necessarily about the engagement ring in question with Louise, but Tim was insistent, despite everyone around the table saying to the contrary, that it would be perfectly acceptable to give out plastic engagement rings rather than gold or silver engagement rings. Now, of course, he was absolutely right about this, you know, no question about it, but what do we all reckon?
Temporarily, I say.
Damn it, a truth getting away.
Now, when people talk about marriage, people often wonder what sort of relationship the happy couple will have, and you know, who will be, and specifically who will be the dominant partner in the marriage, who will wear the trousers, I believe they say. And I think we probably know who that's going to be. But yeah, I'm not saying anything. But it's more than just a coincidence that Tim shares a birthday with Evander Holyfield, a man who's mainly famous for having his ear bitten off. But unfortunately with Tim, as Tim said earlier, you know, about things being very thin, things haven't entirely been plain sailing throughout the time that I've known him, you know, from his arduous week-long campaign in the Navy, and getting his knee damaged during a game of netball. Netball.
You had your go.
But, however, when he needed it most, one of his dreams that I mentioned earlier did come through for him. Louise, you really have been the making of Tim in the last few years. You've always been there for him when he needed someone the most, and I know you always will be. Had it not been for you, well, who knows where it would have ended up. You know.
Bobsleigh
As it is, stop giggling, man.
lost him.
Right, ignore that thing. As it is, you've undoubtedly changed Tim's life for the better, and he's now able to pursue any dreams he wants in the future, provided you let him, of course. It's a dream, of course, that is. Starting with your brand new job, away from that commuter train, the 5-hour journeys, and of course the nice little pay rise as well, which you'll be getting.
I'll be spending.
I was wondering what that list was earlier. But, so, now we've got all the sort of the sensible, the niceties out the way. I thought I'd go easy on him, you know, just to be nice. And before we raise a toast to the bride and groom, I'll pass you over to Jason in the corner.
Yeah. I can throw things that far.
Well, to be perfectly honest, despite appearances, I can actually be a little bit sensible, which is what I'm actually going to do for once.
Never.
And it's going to be a lot shorter than these ones were. Don't worry. Yeah. I just want to say to you, Tim, thank you for everything you've done for me over the years, and I hope that you know that I'll always be there to do everything I can to support you guys in the future. Whenever I needed someone to talk to, I know you're always there, generally glaring at me or smiling at me.
Or answering the phone at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Or when I text you at 4 in the morning, because I forget that you get up later. Yeah. Anyway, but I know when I was in need, yourself, Mark, and Debbie, you really stood up and you helped me, and that's something that I'll never, ever, ever be able to forget. And I'll always thank you for that. Louise, you've been such an inspiration to Tim. You really, really have. I mean, we all know how it can be. But you've been a pillar of strength to him, and I know that you both had many, many great years to look forward to together. So I'd like to thank you, mate, for everything, and I wish you and Louise every happiness in the future. Back to Richard in the studio.
Thank you, Jason, our field correspondent. Right, the only thing I've got left written on this bit of paper is toast. So, ladies and gentlemen, Timothy and Louise Tiernan. Cheers. Upstairs to a bar, and we'll hang around, then they'll clear the decks, and we'll have a disco and DJs and music.
Sounds good to me.
Everything else. Actually,
Hold up!
That didn't happen, by the way. I've been told that I owe the pub a glass, and yeah, we're supposed to hang back for a minute or two, apparently. What are we doing? Over to Louise.
Pass the parcel.